What's happening, people? It's your girl Minna. Welcome back to the channel. Big up to everyone locked in. It's actually been a minute since we've done daily dose of Minna, or just even a live stream. I think the last live stream that we actually did here on the channel, let me go and have an actual look. I think it was transfer deadline day. Yes, it was transfer deadline day over a week ago. Because I'm a disgrace, guys. I'm an absolute disgrace. I told you, I'm going to try to be consistent in February, and I haven't been. But big up to everyone that's locked in. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. We have so much to talk about because there's so much happening in the world of football. But there's also a lot happening in the world of Manchester United football. So of course, as always, that's what we're going to start with. We're going to talk about Ruben Amorim's reportedly demands for players in the summer, particularly what type of profiles that the manager might want, and specific players that Manchester United have actually been linked to. We're also going to talk about all the departures that are expected to happen in the summer transfer window. We're going to talk about Ineos. We're going to talk about Amorim. We're going to talk about players we're not going to talk about. I'm going to try my best not to go into too much conversation about the Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford thing, because I don't know, man. For me, it's just, I don't know why people are having these long conversations about this whole Jadon Sancho, what he commented on Marcus Rashford's Instagram, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. I don't know why it's such a topic of discussion amongst the fans. But we're going to touch on it very briefly because obviously that is news. But we ain't going to spend too much time talking about it. Big up to Gaz in the chat. Big up to Dipesh. Big up to everyone. Listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well because, as you know, it helps with the algorithm. We've got a lot of Man United football coming over the next couple of weeks. We've got Spurs on Sunday away from home. And I'm not going to lie, United's record away from home, I think it's been a bit better. Not necessarily a lot better, but I feel like it's been a bit better than what maybe Manchester United have been like at home. So that is one thing. However, the last time we played Spurs, it wasn't a good outing. I mean, 4-3 in the Carabao Cup, and it was just a shit show of a performance, if we're being honest. I remember that's when Bayinda had his little moment. So we're going to talk about that and United's upcoming fixtures. Obviously, Man United have been drawn with Fulham, I think it is, in the FA Cup. Again, Man United meet them on the route to the final. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I feel like the FA Cup is there for United to win. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't know. Let me know if you guys agree. But I feel like the FA Cup is there for United to win, especially with the big teams kind of knocking themselves out. You got Liverpool knocked out by Plymouth on the weekend. You got Chelsea knocked out. You got Arsenal knocked out. You got Spurs. It's only Man United and Man City that are left from the big six. And then you got obviously teams like Newcastle. You got Villa. You got Brighton. You still got some decent, good teams, if I'm being honest. A team that can give Man United a game on any day of the week. So we can't be too overhyped about the potential idea of going back to the final. And Ruben Amorim actually touched on it about, winning cups or getting to cup finals, etc., with the state that Manchester United are currently in. So we're going to talk about that as well. We'll get back to that comment after the Fulham game. Yeah, we will. But I'm looking ahead to Spurs on Sunday, guys. And I'm a bit nervous for Spurs. But equally with saying that, I have not been optimistic for a Manchester United game in a long time. There's been no game this season I've gone into feeling optimistic, maybe except for at the beginning of the season. Since United kind of got humiliated by Liverpool at Old Trafford, I haven't really gone into any game feeling confident. And that is why I don't do predictions anymore. I don't do match preview videos. I don't do any of that because I genuinely cannot fathom the idea of Manchester United winning and me predicting that. So now I just don't make predictions. But Spurs, Man United is the day before my birthday as well. So I hope Manchester United don't embarrass me. Like, I can't remember the last time Man United actually won on my birthday, like, if I'm being honest. Just quickly, let's start with this. Let's start with this point of Ruben Amorim has approached 20 games as Manchester United head coach. 20 games, guys. It's gone quite quickly. I can't lie. I don't feel like it's been 20 games. For some reason, I feel like it's been 5-6 games. But there's been so many games in there that I would like to forget. Bournemouth, Forest, Newcastle. If that's just off the top of my head, Brighton. There's so many games in that list of 20 games that I would just like to forget. Ruben Amorim has a 50% win record so far in all competitions as Manchester United head coach. That's 10 wins, 2 draws, and 8 losses. That is a lot of losses. I'm not gonna lie. But I also, it's funny because Man United have been on a winning streak over the last couple of games. I think they've won like 4 and 5, is it? And it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it because the fan base is still, no matter what happens, even if United win or if United lose, the fan base is in turmoil, no matter what happens. And I think it's mainly because of the manner in which Man United are winning games. Like I said in my match reaction after the game on Friday, I said that Man United have not won a game convincingly under Ruben Amorim since Everton 4-0. And that was the 1st of December. That was his 3rd game. So we've played 16, 17 games since that. And Manchester United are yet to win another game in a convincing manner. I don't know how you guys feel, but I don't know. Maybe this is a question to you guys. Are you happy with getting results in the way that Man United are getting results? Because I just want to watch a game where I'm just enjoying Man United play for 90 minutes. I didn't feel like that against Leicester. Didn't feel like that against Rangers. Didn't feel like that against Southampton. Didn't feel like that against Victoria Pleasant. There's not a team that United beat in the last month that I have felt like I've enjoyed watching the game. Genuinely speaking, I have not enjoyed watching it. We've won 6 out of 8 and it feels like 5 consecutive defeats. Exactly. And I think it's because of the manner in which United are winning games. Ruben Amorim touched on it when he joined Manchester United, that it's not always about the results and it's about the performances. And I agree with that. But I also agree that, football is a results-based business. And if you ain't getting results, you are not buying yourself enough time to kind of get to the summer and be able to experience a transfer window with Manchester United. And that's mainly aimed at Ruben Amorim. I don't know how you lot feel. Have you enjoyed watching Manchester United over the last month or two? Because I haven't. I truly haven't. It's become to me like sometimes, I love football, guys. I watch football all the time. Like I will watch whatever football's on television or, whatever. I feel like it's a chore sometimes watching Manchester United. And I will watch them and I will go to Old Trafford when I can and I will watch them when on TV when I'm able to. I don't miss a game. I don't think I've missed the United game in a long time. But in the last couple of months, it's felt like a chore watching Man United. And I know it's going to take some time for Man United to get to a level of being what they once were, where, it was like the Lakers when they were known as the Lake Show, basically the counter-attacking basketball. It's going to take a long time for Man United to get back to that exciting style of football and where they're bopping teams off the pitch. United have scored 30 goals under Ruben Amorim and conceded 32. So yes, mathematically, Manchester United are conceding more than scoring. And we're going to talk about the front line because I think that is a big part of Manchester United's summer plans in terms of the players that they might target in the summer and also the players that they might let go from Manchester United. But it's crazy that we've won 10 games out of 20 under Ruben Amorim. And yet the fan base every match day is in turmoil, every single match day. Let's talk about Antony quickly, on loan at Real Betis. And it's funny because obviously once a player leaves Manchester United and they start performing well, everybody starts saying, yeah, bring him back. Listen, let Antony do his thing at Real Betis, firstly. Let him do his thing. However, I will say that this notion that I think people are starting to realize that when players leave Manchester United, it's not always two things can be true at the same time. And I feel like United for a long time has not been an environment for a lot of players to flourish. You look at Scott McTominay, you look at, Lukaku, who wanted out of Manchester United. Alexis Sanchez reportedly wanted to go back to Arsenal after his first training session at Manchester United. The culture shift that we're expecting at the club is happening and it's taking time. But players like Antony, moving on to Real Betis, and this is why I say it's revisionism sometimes, because I've seen 2 comps. I haven't watched any Real Betis games, haven't seen any Real Betis games, but I've seen 2 different comps of his performances at Real Betis so far, where apparently he got a goal in one game and he had, I think, man of the match in both. But did Real Betis win any of those games? That is the question. Anyways, on the topic of Antony, the Real Betis CEO, Ramon Alacone, Ramon Alacone, has spoken about potentially keeping Antony beyond this season. And he said, I think so. The other day, the CEO of Manchester United called me. We sent them all the moves and the details of the players throughout the week so that they can see that we are looking after their asset. There is a very good chemistry with Manchester United and with the player, and it is possible that he will continue next season. Why not? So there's potential that it could be a destination, a permanent destination for him. I think the Spanish league would suit him, but I don't think he would be suited to the Atleticos or the Barças and the Real Madrids. Maybe a team like Betis, maybe a team like Villarreal is more suited to a player like Antony. But one thing I don't get is why people want a player to go out on loan and then wish them bad when they go out on loan. Any good performances that Antony has whilst he's at Real Betis will help Manchester United. You don't have to be a fan of the player. You don't have to like him, whatever it may be. But you must want him to do well on loan because that will help Manchester United. And we already know the predicament that United are in right now. Any player that leaves Man United, like McTominay, De Gea, Sancho, now Rashford, plays a good, fair enough for them. The only thing that matters is how they are performing at United under multiple managers. I don't know about the Sancho one. Antony gets more time on the ball in La Liga. Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm thinking. That's why I've said that. You know, I can see him being there on a permanent basis. Now, this has been the topic of conversation. Yeah, I was away on the weekend, so I didn't. Outside of the Man United game. And I watched a Real Madrid game versus Atletico. I didn't watch any other football. I didn't watch any FA Cup football. But I did see this of Marcus Rashford making his debut for Aston Villa. It's weird seeing him in an Aston Villa shirt, let alone in a number 9 shirt. I don't know. I find it weird. Marcus Rashford makes his debut for Aston Villa, posts a picture online on his Instagram, followed by Jadon Sancho commenting on it saying freedom with the... Now, I think a lot of it is being taken out. I do think some of it is being taken out of, is it being taken out of context or is blown out of proportion? Because I get what he means by freedom. He's saying you were literally exiled for the last month and now you're free to play. I don't know if people seem to think maybe is he suggesting that it's freedom from the Manchester United as a club? Is it freedom from the shackles of Manchester? I'm seeing think pieces. I'm seeing Rio talking about it. I'm seeing Neville talking about it. I'm seeing everyone talking about it. And I feel like, yeah, I'm talking about it right now. But I feel like a lot of people are giving it a lot more attention than it should be. I'm seeing think pieces about how Erik ten Hag did Sancho a favour, and this is how he repays Manchester United. I think it is clear as day, yeah, that Jadon Sancho and Manchester United have not a fractured relationship, not a broken. I think they have a dismantled relationship, which means I don't think there's any coming back from whatever is between Manchester United and Jadon Sancho. Now, the agreement that Chelsea and Manchester United have is if they finish above 50, that it gets triggered, the obligation to buy gets triggered for Jadon Sancho for 25 million. Manchester United were happy to part ways with Jadon Sancho for such a cheap price because it's the price that they have to pay for a broken relationship, a dismantled relationship. I do think, however, and it comes from Chris Wheeler as well, about Marcus Rashford's relationship with Manchester United is I don't think it's at that level of what it is between Jadon Sancho and the club. Now, sources close to Marcus Rashford had indicated that he does not appreciate being dragged into Jadon Sancho's tensions with Manchester United. Rashford wants to stay on good terms with the club and the supporters, and that's why I feel like people are just doing too much with these think pieces. It's so funny because I remember when Jadon Sancho joined Chelsea, because we sat here on deadline day. I said I didn't want him to go to Chelsea. I would mind him go anywhere else but Chelsea. But it seems like his loan spell at Chelsea has not gone to the level of what maybe Chelsea fans have expected it to be. I mean, if you had, and this is why I always say, do not fall in love with the player Jadon Sancho at Dortmund and Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, 2 different players, yeah? And I feel like Chelsea fans, similar to United fans, were holding on to the idea of Jadon Sancho at Dortmund and not Jadon Sancho now at Manchester United at the time when they were buying him on loan. And that's why I always say, when we're in the January window, when we were linked to Nkunku, when we were linked to João Felix, people were talking about what João Felix was doing in Spain and what Nkunku was doing at Leipzig. And I kept saying, guys, don't fall in love with what the player once was, because the reality is you are never going to get that player back again. Take it at face value. Take the player at face value. And it's really interesting to see the way that Chelsea fans' opinions on Sancho has shifted in the space of what, 4 or 5 months. September times, I was talking with my friends who were Chelsea fans, and they were laughing at me saying, I can't believe United gave him to us for this much. Like, it's crazy. And I'm like, guys, you lot are gonna learn the hard way. You're gonna learn the hard way. And that's no criticisms on Jadon Sancho per se. It's more so of the idea of, you know, Sancho at Dortmund and Sancho at Man United are two different players. And I think one thing I don't like, I'm going to be honest, is when people talk about what Erik ten Hag did for Jadon Sancho. And I guess it comes from the place of, you know, fans feel like he's basically throwing it all back in their face. And fans have a right to feel like that. But what Erik ten Hag did for Jadon Sancho when he was mentally in a low place is exactly what I would expect from any decent human being. He didn't do it because he liked him as a player. He didn't do it because he thought he had potential as a footballer. Erik ten Hag did that for Jadon Sancho, taking him out of the spotlight, letting him train away from Manchester United for a couple of months because mentally he wasn't in the right space. He did that because that's what good people do. That's what a half-decent human being would do. So I don't like why people bring that up and say, oh, Man United did this for you and you were mentally struggling. I would expect that from anybody, let alone a football club that employ you. Because, you know, employment regulations could mean that you're entitled to that. But I don't think it helps with the whole Marcus Rashford situation. That comment doesn't help. But I don't know how people are making it bigger than what it is. That is my honest opinion on that. And you know what? We spent way too much time on that. We've spent way too much time on that. So let's actually get into the fun stuff. A lot of you, he's been underwhelming, to be honest. Yeah, I watched him at Stamford Bridge. I think it was against Brighton. He had an okay performance. I think it says a lot when Chelsea are still in the market for a left winger. Or maybe, I don't know, Todd Bowley just wants to stack up on wingers. I don't know. But it does say a lot when they're still in the market to buy another winger. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw the game on Friday. Another snooze fest of a performance. I'm so glad I don't have to watch Man United this week. Like, Sunday is when I have to watch Manchester United. So I can just enjoy Champions League football this week. And obviously the big game today. Yo, Mina, did you see what? No, I didn't. Let me check it out before I get into this Dorgu conversation. Since when did Tyrone become? ITK? I don't know. I didn't know Tyrone was at ITK. So if you don't know Tyrone, you don't know him from Saeed's channel. He does sports journalism, etc. Reportedly, he says, I'm hearing some of the players aren't happy with Ruben Amorim's formation. Yeah, I'm not going to cover that just because no disrespect, but I don't know how accurate it is. But let's talk about Patrick Dorgu. Makes his debut on Friday. And this is actually what kind of sat uneasy with me. And I spoke about it in my match reaction after the game is I felt like Man United, I don't want to say field tilt, but there was too much emphasis on the right-hand side. And I felt like it was an imbalance with Ahmad, with Dorgu. Obviously, it's been confirmed now that Patrick Dorgu is being brought into Manchester United to play as a left-back. Now, it was suggested that maybe he was playing at right-back because that was the side of Ruben Amorim, and Amorim could speak to him throughout the game and guide him throughout the game. He only played a half. I liked what I saw in that 45 minutes. I don't know if you guys share the same idea. Let me know if you guys enjoyed what you saw from Patrick Dorgu. But I liked what I saw, and I felt like he could Damn. Big up to Tyler with the big super chat. I'm literally in the middle of speaking and I just saw something red pop up on my, or is that pink? I saw something pink pop up on my screen. Big up to Tyler with the big super chat. I appreciate it, man. Listen, W's in the chat for Tyler. Not even a comment, nothing there. just a super chat. Big up to Tyler. I think Dorgu playing on the right is a knockoff effect of Martinez being injured. Really? Do you think so? I don't think it's a knockoff effect per se. I wouldn't say. I don't know, because I feel like Yoro at left centre back and Mizraoui at left centre back, I think, filled the job relatively okay. Of course, Licha, I think, is big shoes to fill as a left-sided centre-back because of what he offers in terms of ball progression. Now, I actually think Man United should go forward now with Ahmad and Dorgu as the left wing-backs for the rest of the season. I don't know if you guys agree. Let me know if you guys agree. But I genuinely think that Patrick Dorgu and Patrick Dorgu and Ahmad should be the right wing back and the left wing back for the rest of the season, because then I think you've got explosiveness, you've got a serial threat from both sides. You don't have to rely on building up on the left or utilizing the left channel or utilizing only the right channel. I think when you have both of them, it's a better balance. And with a player like Garnacho, who I think when he plays as a left 10, Garnacho naturally drifts to the left, right? And he naturally drifts out wide. And I feel like that would allow Patrick Dorgu to come in a bit more central, what we've seen Dalot doing, essentially. But I had some question marks as to why Ruben Amorim decided to play him as a right wing back. But he did say that. I saw his quote about Y-Scout. That is the funniest. He's such a troll. He's basically saying, I saw on Y-Scout that he can play as a right wing back. He's taking the piss out of all these tacticos and all of that stuff. But maybe he was alluding to the fact that he can play as a winger, because he did play as a winger. So he can play on that right-hand side. But I just felt like with him and Ahmad, it was causing an imbalance. I felt like it was causing an imbalance. And Diogo Dalot, for me, I don't think he's the greatest wing back. And I feel like he's declined a lot over the last, 6 months. I feel like he's declined so much. But equally with saying that, if you cannot play as a wing back, I don't think he can play centre back. Like Mizraoui isn't the best right wing back, right? But with saying that, Mizraoui can play left centre back and he can play right centre back. I don't think Diogo Dalot can play right centre back. I don't think Diogo Dalot can play left centre back. I don't think he's got the defensive acumen to play there. So if you cannot play as a wing back and you've been struggling, and the system in which you're required to play as a wing back is highlighting your flaws to a major level, I think Man United are going to have to look at potentially offloading him in the summer and bringing in maybe a natural wing backup, if you want to say that, because United are linked to another right wing back, which we are going to get to now. We're going to get to that now. The title of the video says Amorim demands intensity. That is his main request from players for 90 minutes non-stop intensity. And is it a surprise, I will say, that Man United are now signing players? I don't like the term P&P, but players that are prolifically fast. They've got speed. They've got strength. They're able to run a lot and cover a lot of ground. I don't think it's a surprise to me, per se. That's what Manchester United are going for now in the market. And it's reported that Manchester United remain open to signing Giovanni Quenda despite the arrival of Patrick Dorgu. It's also been reported that I don't know why this is relevant, but it's been reported that Jorge Mendes has bought half of Quenda's image rights. I mean, that is relevant because when you're negotiating with the club, image rights is a big thing. Otherwise, the club cannot post images of the player, etc., etc. If Mendes is his agent, yeah, it's going to be long. Now, Manchester United cannot actually make a bid for him yet. He's 17 years old, going to be 18 in April. But a lot of the profiles that United are being linked to, like I said, a lot of those profiles are players of P&P. I hate that term, by the way, so I'm not going to say it, but players of strength, speed, agile, can get up and down the pitch, and eat up every blade of grass. Because that's what, in Amorim's system, or just in, I think, any Premier League system, if you cannot run non-stop. Look at Newcastle. Look what Newcastle did to Arsenal the other day. Yeah, what Newcastle did was a tactical masterclass, if you want to call it, from Eddie Howe. I was seeing centre-backs pressing the DM from their own goal kick. Imagine that. Raya is trying to play out from the back. Declan Rice is coming short. And you've got Dan Burns covering that entire space, running all the way to press Declan Rice and force an error, which they did, and I think they scored from that. Newcastle is an example. Bournemouth, another team that's an example of a team that run a lot. Despite not having a lot of possession, they run and cover a lot of grass. Nottingham Forest, Villa, Brighton, if you want to say, a lot of teams in the Premier League. I think Manchester United is probably one of the worst in the Premier League when it comes to the ability to cover a lot of the pitch consistently for 90 minutes. And that might go down to conditioning. That might go down to, the player's ability, but also in the system that you're required to play. And a system like this, for example, I think wing-backs under Ruben Amorim have to be probably one of the most fittest players in the team. Like your striker, I don't think, and we're going to get to the striker conversation about, players that Man United are linked to, but I feel like the wing-backs have to be the most agile, the most fit, the players that are able to cover the most amount of grass, because you are expected to go up and down that touchline non-stop. You're expected to defend on one end and then burst up the wing and attack. And a team that you see it perfectly with is Bayer Leverkusen. You see it with Inter Milan. I was watching Inter Milan, I can't remember, it was a game last month, but all I saw was them pick it up in their own third. And by the time I looked to see what options the player had, Denzel Dumfries was gone. The right wing back was gone. And then the ball was turned over, and within a blink of an eye, he was back in the defensive shape. Now, you have to be fit. And if Ruben Amorim feels like Giovanni Quenda can answer the questions that Man United have on the right-hand side, no problem. No problem. I do think, though, there are more seasoned wing-backs out there that United could go for if they wanted to. But I do also feel like Manchester United are going down this path of young players. And I speak about this all the time. I have a slight concern about, loading the team with a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I feel like Man United need to get the balance right between having players that are young, that have immense talent and immense ability and, a high ceiling. But equally, they need to have players that they also need to have players that are seasoned professionals, that are first-team experienced players. You don't have to go and sign a 40-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. You don't have to do that. But you can sign a 26-year-old player that has experience at first-team football, that is a leader, that can guide the team. Because when you've got an entirely young team, what exactly is your purpose? What exactly is your purpose of the squad that you're trying to build if your team lacks experience? But listen, guys, we've got over 80 people here, not even 50 likes. Let's try and get the likes up. Let's try and get it to 50, not that far from 100 viewers on the live stream. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. Guys, do you know why you should hit the like? Because I've had a migraine all day, but yeah, I forced myself to sit here, turned on the lights. The lights are bright in my face right now. If you lot are wondering why does Minna keep squinting, that is why. The lights are bright in my eyes and I got a headache. So make sure you hit the like. That's my pity story. If that doesn't make you guys hit the like button, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. If you want to support the channel, you can as well by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love. You can help me reach the goal for my birthday month. Yes, guys, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. It is my birthday month. My birthday's on Monday. So I'll probably do a birthday stream, probably do a Q&A, and then obviously do the normal daily dose as well, off the back of hopefully what will be a win against Spurs. So I hope to catch a lot of you guys on that stream as well. Let's talk strikers. Minna, did you? Yeah, I saw the news. We're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about that news as well. Stu says it was my birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. February. I swear to God, guys, I never realized how many people are born in February until it gets to February. In my family, yeah, I think there's 10 of us born in February, between me and my cousins and my siblings. Yeah, and like nieces, like there's 10 of us born in February from like the 2nd of Feb until about the 24th of Feb. So February is after February. I don't eat birthday cake for the rest of the month because I've for the rest of the year. Sorry, because I've eaten way too much in the month of February. But let's talk about our striker options. Reportedly, Juventus are the most interested club in Rasmus Hojlund and could intensify their interest in the next few months. Manchester United would accept any offers in the region of £40 million. The same Juventus that are trying to offload Vlahovic, they want to replace him with Kolo Muani. What are they? I don't know what they're planning there. And also, this is coming from a Juventus source. Would Rasmus Hojlund want a return to Italy? That is the question, and that's what I'm curious. That is what I'm curious to know, if he would want a return to Italy. If Manchester United do offload him in the summer, and we're going to speak about Joshua Zirkzee, is that a failed transfer? Would that class as a failed signing, guys, if Man United were to sell him? Mina, between Rasmus and Zirkzee, who would you rather sell in the summer? I'd say Rasmus. I would actually say Rasmus. I wouldn't mind Zirkzee as a backup striker. I wouldn't mind him. Also, I do feel like Zirkzee is because he's a different profile. If United go out and sign an out-and-out 9, you'd rather keep a different profile of a striker as backup, so that if you need to change something in the game, you don't have to make a like-for-like switch. Now, the only thing I can imagine also is, like I always reference, is the interview that Omar Barada did with the Financial Times during his time at City, where he said they had a 2-season rule at City, where you have 2 seasons after coming in to basically prove that you're worth basically being in the team, and if not, they sell you. And that's why you think about all the players that have come in at City that get sold after a couple of seasons. Man United are the only team that are hoarders. We are hoarders, guys. We hoard players, and then when it's ready for them, when they're ready to leave on a free because they want to get every penny of their contract, they leave on a free. Manchester United have been that under Ed Woodward. They've been that under Murto and Arnold and all of them guys. I hope that that's not the case anymore. If we can see very clearly as day that Hojlund is maybe not working as a striker, and he's not only at the level that he's not at the level that you wanted him to be or expected him to be by the time it reached the 3rd season of his time at United, part ways with him. And that is applicable for me to any player in the team. It's not just Hojlund. For me, it's applicable to any player in the team. That should be a kind of a thought process that Manchester United consider. For far too long, like I said, how many players have left United on a free? Think about how many players have left Manchester United on a free multiple times, guys. Multiple times. That summer that Erik ten Hag came in, how many players left? How many players left on a free that summer that he came in? Sorry, so many players left. So many players left. So I do think that if Manchester United do consider selling any striker, any striker, then it should be after they reach their 2-year probation. It's basically probation. Under Sir Alex, I can't even name any player who were not available or didn't perform for 2 seasons and were at the club for a 3rd season. I agree. I agree. I can't think of any players under the Sir Alex Ferguson reign that could stay for 3, 4, 5 years and get away with it. Are United hoarding players, or they just can't sell? You know what? I think it's not that they're hoarding players. Hoarding maybe is a harsh term to use. Maybe hoarding is a harsh term to use. I think because United give out fat contracts to everyone, they cannot afford to offload players. Like, generally speaking, they cannot. They're bad at selling them because maybe they've got bad negotiation skills. I don't know. But equally, because of the contracts that they give to players, no one's going to take that contract on. No one's going to take that contract on. You think anyone's going to take Eriksen when he's on 150 a week? No one's going to take it. Chelsea hoard players. Yeah, that's a team that hoard players. That is definitely a team that hoard players. Let's talk about this. let's talk about this. Because this is, I think, the hottest conversation right now is these three players here. Just for some context, Fabrizio Romano reporting yesterday that Juventus, again, this is why I think Juve are more likely interested in Zirkzee, by the way, than they are in Hojlund. But Juventus asked for Joshua Zirkzee on loan with a buy option in January, but Manchester United and the player both rejected the approach. Now, as you lot know, they went on to go and sign Kolo Muani, but they did try to approach Manchester United first. Now, I think this picture on your screen right now, I think 2 of these players will be United players next season. But I think the run for Gyökeres is not going to be as easy as we think. Like, we could talk about, reuniting with his previous manager, etc. But Man United is a project, right? It's a project. So United are not going to be competing for titles imminently. Gyökeres will have interest, I think, from a lot of clubs, including Arsenal, because I don't think Arsenal will pay that 150 million quote for Isak, even though I would love Isak at Manchester United. I would love Isak at United, but it's never going to happen. But Gyökeres being reunited with Ruben Amorim is a possibility. And Manchester, it's been reported that Ruben Amorim wants 2 forwards in the summer. 2 forwards. An out-and-out 9 to carry the front line and a second striker to play behind the number 9. Now, the second striker could be a 10. It could be a creative player. It doesn't have to be a goal-scoring threat. But essentially, it's going to be someone that is playing behind the striker. Gyökeres has been the biggest name, I think, that keeps popping up for Manchester United. And another name that pops up as that second striker option is Matheus Cunha. Now, again, guys, this is just reports. But it's been reported that Manchester United are closely following the developments of Matheus Cunha very closely. He has a release clause worth just over 60 million this summer, which will take effect from June. I'm being so honest, guys. If that release clause is available at the 1st of June at 12:01 a.m., Manchester United need to be on it like a car bonnet. They need to be all over that release clause. They cannot be beaten to it, because there's so many other teams, I think, that will be in for a player like Cunha. I think if Forest somehow get Champions League football, which is very reasonable, it's not out of the realm of possibility, they will be in for them. They'll be in for him, sorry. If, Manchester United will want him. I think there's so many teams. Arsenal might want him. I feel like there's so many teams that could be interested in a Cunha type of player. And if Man United are serious about signing prolific players in their positions, not just 17, 18, 19-year-olds, it's reported that Gyökeres' release clause is less than £60 million. So they could possibly get Gyökeres and Cunha for 120 million. Or maybe even less than that, depending on how well they can negotiate. Now, between the 2 players in the picture behind him, one of them will leave, I think, Man United. I think it's a guarantee. I think both of them are sellable assets. I think they got something to offer, maybe not at the level that we are expecting or that we need right now, but I do think that they have something to maybe offer another team, whether it's a bench player, being a bench player, coming off the bench, etc. The problem is, I think, with Zirkzee, unfortunately, I don't think he's had enough starts in the team for anyone to have a clear opinion on whether he's good enough to play for Man United or not. I feel like a lot of the opinions that fly around, even me, I'm guilty of it too. A lot of the opinions tend to be around what we've seen from him for 10, 15, 20 minutes of a game. But I think he deserves a fair run of, I'm talking 5 games in a row, guys, to play, for fans to really see, okay, what can he offer us? Because Hojlund has had that. Hojlund has had that time and time again, where he gets a clear run of games in the team and he's able to get 5, 6, 7 starts in a row. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but you guys get my drift. He gets a fair run of games to start. Whereas Zirkzee, I don't think has started consecutive games since September times. Fabrizio Romano, like I said, reporting that Manchester United's intention this summer is to sign at least 1 player who can play behind the striker, 1 centre forward who's a proper number 9 that can score goals regularly. Like I said, 20 games under Ruben Amorim, United have only scored 30 goals. It wasn't until a couple of weeks ago, Marcus Rashford was still United's top goal scorer in the Prem. I think until Ahmad scored his hat-trick, Marcus Rashford was still United's top goal scorer despite not playing for over a month. So you can see how dire Man United's goal-scoring situation is. So without a shadow of a doubt, the priority in the summer transfer window should absolutely be Manchester United going to sign a striker, and not just any striker, because when the last time we went to sign a striker, Harry Kane was on the market and United ended up with Rasmus Hojlund. And yes, I know negotiating with Daniel Levy would have been way different for Man United in comparison to Bayern Munich, and it's all actually kind of helped Spurs in terms of selling Kane to there, because they were able to get Tel because of the good relationship that they had. So I think Man United have to get the striker option right this summer. They cannot afford to be in the same situation that they were 2 windows ago when they ended up with Rasmus Hojlund for 70-80 million euros. I will be so underwhelmed. And to be honest, guys, my expectations are not that high for the summer transfer window. I don't have high expectations from Manchester United and from Ineos. But if this is what is being briefed to media, that this is what United's intentions are, then don't sign a player that gets you 12 goals, 15 goals in all competitions. I want you to sign a player that's getting you 20 goals in the league at the least. When was the last time United, bar Marcus Rashford, when was the last time United had a number of players that were able to get you consistent double-digit goals in the league? Like before the Oli era, when was that, to get consistent double-digit goals? And like I said, 30 goals under Ruben Amorim in 20 games shows you how difficult the situation is. I'm expecting 3 incomings and 6 outgoings. 3 incomings! 3 incomings! No way. United need way more than that in the summer. United need way more than that. They need a centre-back, because I'm not buying this notion that this Heaven kid is the replacement for Felicia. I'm not buying it. They need an experienced left-sided centre-back. We need a midfielder. We need a 10. We need a striker. We need a wing-back. But the one good thing I can say is that not everything will be fixed in one transfer window. And we have to accept that. And we have to accept that that is Manchester United's reality. We are not going to fix... It's so sad as well, because I feel like United have undergone this 3 summer windows of rebuilding the team, and now we need to rebuild that rebuild. That's how bad the rebuild has been. I hate the term rebuild. I said it way too much now in this sentence. I just said it like 5 times. If Zirkzee could play with more intensity and aggression, attack the box, he can definitely stay. But I think they know why they're giving him less minutes. He may not be as effective in getting goals. I don't think he's been that effective in getting goals, and we've seen it. But I've seen how he can influence the game from other ways. And that's what I always say about players, right? This is my problem with Rasmus Hojlund, is that outside of scoring goals, Rasmus Hojlund cannot influence the game. I watched, again, Alexander Isak not score, but cause a ruckus for the backline. That influences the game. It impacts the game. It allows your team to take advantages of the scenarios that you are creating. You might not necessarily get on the score sheet, but that is what an all-rounded kind of number 9 is. You look at Harry Kane, Lewandowski, players that are able to link their play up when they are not scoring in front of goal. And that is Man United's biggest issue right now, is that they have strikers that are not able to score in front of goal. And outside of that, they cannot impact the game. I watched the ball bounce off of Rasmus Hojlund's shin every other pass that he gets into his feet. Every other pass he gets to his feet, I'm seeing it bounce off his foot like it's a flipping bouncy castle. Like, that is my problem with strikers just in general. And just maybe even this could be applicable to any attacking player. If you are not getting on the score sheet and you're not getting on the assist sheet, I need you to impact the game in other ways. I need you to be dynamic. I need you to be influential. And that is what separates Hojlund from other strikers in the league. I'm talking about, I don't even have to talk about the best of the best strikers in the league right now. I could talk about the Delaps. I could talk about the Welbecks. I could talk about those kind of strikers that might not be getting you a lot of goals. But they got more than Hojlund. But they might not be getting you a lot of goals, but they are causing... Every striker I've just named right now has caused problems for Manchester United, even some of them without scoring. They've caused problems for United. And that's what I need from the strikers. That's really what I need. Rasmus Hojlund, I dare you to win 50% of your aerial duels. Not even 50%. I dare you to win 2 duels. Two duels in a game. I dare you to win. Because I swear, guys, I can go back and look at his stats. And even Zirkzee as well. Zirkzee is not free from this as well. But every game I watch, I always watch to see what his duel percentage is. Yeah? Because I know this guy don't be winning aerial duels. He's won 23% of his aerial duels in the league so far. That's Hojlund, by the way. 23%. He's won 16 duels. I don't even know how many that means that he's lost. But if you look at just the duels in general, he's only won 33%. That's ground and aerial duels. That's bad. That is bad. For the number of minutes that he plays this season, 13 starts in the league. Joshua Zirkzee wishes he had 13 starts in the whole season, let alone at this point of the season. He wishes. Listen, guys, we got just under 100 people here. Let's try and get the likes up. It helps with the algorithm, guys. You know the algorithm on YouTube, it moves weird sometimes. If you don't stream every day, the algorithm don't help you. And I'm trying to find a balance between live streams and videos as well. So make sure you check out the video later today after the Real Madrid and Manchester City game, where we're going to analyze that as well. If you want to join the membership club as well, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love and help me reach the birthday goal for the month, for my birthday month. Big up to Stu, been a member for 3 months. Says smash the likes, they're free. Like the content. You guys heard that. I named my lawnmower grass. That's crazy. That's crazy. Those other players are also more experienced than Rasmus, though. We need to teach Hojlund. He's too raw right now, but we know he can finish, and invested too much into him already to take another loss. That is valid in the fact that he is young. That is a valid point. And I also think United kind of undercut him by bringing him in as the main man, the main striker immediately. He should never have been that. And I totally understand that. But also what I do think is that why United fans, we shouldn't shy away from what we see, what we get at face value from players. Let's not hold on to the potential. Because in any relationship, guys, this is some relationship advice from me to you guys, yeah? Not everyday football. Don't fall in love with someone's potential. Take them for what they are at face value and what they are showing you live and direct there and then. Don't fall in love with what the potential that they have to be, you know, who you think they can be in 5 years' time because they've got a high ceiling. No, take them at what they are in your face right there, right then. That will save you a whole load of heartbreak, guys. That will save you a whole load. And that is applicable to football. Take players like, and that is why we can talk about, you know, the superstar players, the Lamines and, you know, the Monaco Mbappe and all the young players. They had high ceilings, but also what were they doing? They were tearing it up at that time as well. This is why I don't understand. Mbappe is probably, Lamine Yamal for me is the best young player I've seen since Mbappe, right? And before that, it was probably Messi, yeah? But the difference is that Lamine Yamal's ceiling is high, you know, superstar level, right? But right now, he is showing you that he's going to be that because he's good right now. We are watching crap day in, day out, but we're in love with the idea of what the player might be in 3 years' time. But they are showing us right now what they are. They are showing us what they are right now. If they have potential, guys, this is not like some, you know, reserves in East Africa untapped. I'm talking about oil that's been untapped or natural gases that have been untapped. This is not untapped potential. The potential is either there or it's not. And if it's there, then you should be able to see it right now. It might not be the polished idea, but you should be able to identify it right now. When I look at some of the players, this idea of this player got potential, I'm like, what? What are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing? Sometimes I think I'm seeing football wrong. And maybe I'm misunderstanding the sport. Maybe I need to change my approach. Big up Mina, why ex-players talk too much? I don't know, man. I seen today, guys, sidetracked. I saw a clip from, I think it's the overlap. And they were talking about, why are people still talking about the Miles Lewis Skelly celebration? I don't get it. Why are people, and I'm saying people, ex-players still talking about it, demonizing Lewis Skelly for pulling out Haaland's celebration? I need more of that in football. Can I just say that? I love that kind of shithousery in sports, whether it's basketball, whether it's NFL, whatever it is, I love it. And they are trying to take the enjoyment and the fun. Because when I was watching other players doing other people's celebrations, when I saw Vardy taunting fans this season multiple times, when he did the celebration against Wolves and he did the wolf thing, when he was taunting Spurs, telling them, look how many Premier League, 1 for me, 0 for you. It's funny then, right? But when a player bangs out another player's celebration because that player said something to them in the previous game, and it's a person of color, it's a problem. And they need to be humble. How dare you taunt a player that has won more than you? He's 17, 18. It's no disrespect that you're saying that Haaland has won more than him. Yeah, because he's older than him. He's been in the game a long time than him, even though Haaland is still young. It's absolutely disgusting. Like, honestly, I hate ex-players' opinions on football. And you know what makes it even funnier, yeah? Is that a lot of football fans in the UK, right? And I'm not going to name any type of football fan, but you lot will know what I'm saying because I was on the receiving end of racist and Islamophobic abuse, guys, for saying one thing about Kevin De Bruyne, right? And the people that were criticizing me, they weren't criticizing my opinion. They were criticizing me for the way that I look. And their whole argument was, why is someone who's never played football talking about the sport? They prefer to see ex-footballers talk about the sport. This is the kind of opinions you're getting from ex-footballers. It's like a flipping, it's like hearing the same opinion over and over and over again. It's horrible. It's horrible. I do not like it. And Lewis Skelly, for me, he's an Arsenal player. I'm not going to sit here and big him up. But as a football fan, I like Skelly. I think he's a good player. But when it comes to things like this, I hope you keep doing it. Keep doing it. Play against whoever you want and pull out their celebration when you score. And let these pundits be mad. These ex-players let them be mad. I've seen them, guys. It's been nearly 2 weeks since that game, and they're still talking about it. I promise you, when Neil Maupay was taunting Manchester United when he played for Brighton, no one was talking about it. No one was talking about it. When even Townsend, I don't know if you don't remember, when Townsend did the sue against Manchester United when Cristiano was playing, nobody said nothing. But suddenly, a young black man who's on the come up does that, and you want to talk about it for 40 days and 40 nights. Give it a flipping rest. I'm sure that there's more things in football to talk about than that. There is so much more stuff. Talk about Liverpool getting knocked out by Plymouth in the FA Cup. Talk about Chelsea getting knocked out by Brighton. Talk about that. Why are you wasting your time talking about celebrations? Oh, he should be humble. He should be this. This is why, can I say, yeah, I watch basketball. I love basketball players and football players, yeah. You see who is the media trained one and who is not, and who has the personality and the character and all of that stuff and who's not. And that's why I don't like football interviews of players on mainstream media, because it's too PR trained. I can watch Kevin Durant, yeah, drop 40 points for the Phoenix Suns. That same night, he'll be on Twitter Spaces arguing with basketball fans because basketball players can do what they want. They can do what they want because no one in the media is trying to control their narrative and criticize them for doing what they want. And what happens today if Charles Barkley or any of them, that Stephen A. Smith, cussed Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant's going to tweet about them and be like, shut up. You will never see that happen in football. You will never, ever see that in football. And that is why I always say, when it comes to entertainment and players feeling connected to fans, basketball is 10 years ahead of football. Townsend was a melon for that. Yeah, I know, it was the worst suit. Him and his dusty hairline. Him and his dusty headlines. Anthony Edwards would fight. Literally, like, football and basketball, you can't even compare the two. You cannot even compare the two. Ex-pros in media move like YouTubers now. They rage bait. I don't even watch, like, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch a lot of football content. I do not watch a lot of football content on YouTube. Like, I might tune in here and there for someone's video, or I might watch it whilst I'm editing, but I don't go out of my way to watch a lot of football content. Sometimes I respect a lot of you guys for doing it. Like, you'll watch my videos, you'll watch, you know, other people's, you'll watch lots of streamers, people streaming. I'm like, how do you guys have the capacity? It's exhausting, guys. And even as someone in the industry, it's exhausting. I promise you guys. It's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like. But let's get back to it, because I just went on a mad rant. But you guys can see my frustration. I hope today Real Madrid versus what? City. If Omar Marmoush was to score and pull out the Mbappe celebration and go like that, I would be mad. Do it. I want to see that kind of stuff, because I promise you guys, if I was a footballer, yeah, women's football don't have celebrations like that. In terms of players don't really have their own celebrations. But I promise you, if I was a footballer, a professional footballer in the WSL, I would be taunting people non-stop. And they'd probably say I'm unsportsmanlike, and people would probably be cussing me on Twitter. But I would do it, because at the end of the day, yeah, you're there to wind up your opponent. You're there to rattle them. In basketball, guys, even in NFL, players trash talk during the game. Like, they will be like, yeah, your mum this, your mum. You're walking past the player on the basketball court. Yeah, you're going to miss that free throw. Yeah, your mum this, your wife this, this, that, but. They taunt, they cuss each other non-stop. Football, though, oh, if you don't shake someone's hand, you're going to be the villain in the sport. I'd do worse. Yeah, I'd do a madness. I feel like this is why God didn't let me be a professional footballer, guys. Because I would be doing madness. But let's get back to the topic. Ruben Amorim keeps telling Manchester United how crucial it is to bring in players who can give intensity to the squad. This is the key word that will dominate the summer transfer window for United. Guys, should we count how many times we hear the word intensity in the summer transfer window? Should I get a whiteboard behind me and we're going to count how many times we hear intensity? I'm going to roughly predict 163. From May, June, July, August. Yeah. The transfer window opens, 1st of July, right? But we're going to hear a lot in June about it. So I'm going to say 163 across the course of 3 months, which will average 54 times a month. Which, if we're saying off of 30 days, which is the average number of days, we're going to hear it at least once or twice a day. I don't think that's bad. Minna, would you sack Amorim if he doesn't get top 4 next season after he gets his own players? I'm already seeing people calling for his head right now. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. And this is like football Twitter is like an echo chamber sometimes. So I don't know. I keep seeing people calling for Amorim to get sacked now, saying that Manchester United look worse off from what he inherited. The fact that United are well off from top 4 than what he inherited. I think we were like 5 or 6 points off of top 4 when he joined. I still think, though, it's still too soon. It's still too soon. Because even like I look at Spurs. Let's look at Spurs. Though. Do you guys think Ange Postecoglou should get sacked? Because I'm in two ways about it with Ange Postecoglou, and even like with Maresca. I look at Ange Postecoglou and I think, okay, it's very similar to what happened with Ten Hag in terms of second season, number of injuries. I don't think it's that bad. I think Spurs were never going to win the title. But I don't think that the transfer window they had in the summer was enough for him to compete at a high level. However, the way that they lose games is poor. It's really bad. At this point, I do think he has an injury crisis at the club. So that I take it with a pinch of salt because Erik ten Hag experienced saving. However, Erik ten Hag won a trophy in his first season. And this is why I don't think you can compare the two. He won a trophy in his season, which gave him credit in the bank. I don't think Ange has credit in the bank. I don't think he does. Also, can I say, it doesn't help that Ange said at the beginning of the season, in my second season, I win trophies. If you are not going to win the Europa League, if they get knocked out of Europa League, it's a problem at Spurs. And I also think he's not the problem at Spurs. I think it's their owners that are the problem. But as long as Spurs continue being crap, I'm all for it. Let them keep Ange. I don't care. Let them keep him. But I do think I can't believe people are entertaining the idea of Ruben Amorim to get sacked. But I look at one thing I will say, guys. One thing I will say is I do look at Ineos's track record at Nice and how they were very trigger happy with sacking managers because of results. And I'm also glad that Ruben Amorim himself knows that it's a results-based career in football. You get results that gives you enough time to get to the summer. And he said that after the game, I think it was actually before the FA Cup game. He said that getting results, United winning 6 and 8, it feels like we've lost 8 in a row because of the performances. But the results, no matter how I don't know, what's the best term? It's squeaky bum time. It is squeaky bum time, a lot of the results that United are getting. And no matter what happens, if they keep getting those kind of results, it gives Amorim time to get to the summer, time to assess the entire situation and decide the players that he wants to keep versus the ones that he doesn't want to keep. I think he already knows. But it also gives United time to get the ball rolling on the players that he needs. Like, let's be honest. Premier League's done. No top 4, no top 6. I don't want to hear people talking about finishing in a European spot. If you want European football, you go and win the Europa League. You want European football, win the FA Cup, win Europa League. That's the only way you're going to get European football for Manchester United. However, it would be very stupid of me to suggest that Manchester United, I say, can go and win the Europa League. Because right now, this Manchester United, I don't think they're capable of winning any game going into a game. If they lose, I'm pleasantly surprised. And if they win, I'm pleasantly surprised. But I don't think that I can say at this point, I have full faith that Manchester United can go and win the Europa League. Because you never know what you're getting with Manchester United. You don't. A game will start. You will get 20 minutes of a decent performance, and that's it. Manchester United haven't scored in the first half, I think, for their last 24 games. 24 out of 25 goals that they've scored has come. Only one of that has been in the first half. United's second half FC. Momentum FC. League is a write-off. We were never winning the league. Unless you're saying like top 4 or something. We were never winning the league. That was never going to happen. But I am shocked that a lot of people in the fan base, and maybe it's the Erik ten Hag revisionism. I've seen the Oli revisionism a little bit as well when he took over Besiktas, and they said, and I saw people saying, he's won his first game with Besiktas. When a chapter closes, let's just permanently close the door. United fans, we are guilty of holding the door ajar just so that we can peep in and see what's happening. When that door is closed, let it be closed. When we start a new chapter, let us start a new chapter with a blank canvas. That's it. Let's do that. Because as fans, and I understand it's the emotional element of the game, we are so guilty of revisionism. We are so guilty of it. I'm seeing people, whoa, who is it? Weghorst. I remember a couple of months ago, people saying United, Weghorst, we miss you. No, guys, let's be realistic. Let's be for real. They want to tweak Amorim's system already. Would you guys be happy with Amorim tweaking his system? Oh, shit. Let me not drink with my left hand. Would you not be happy with it? Because Amorim does tweak his system. And that is where I think I notice who watches games like in detail and who doesn't. Because when you watch the game, you will notice the tweaks from Amorim in game. I've been seeing United playing with a flat back five. That United were not doing that last month. I saw with Liverpool, every time the left-sided centre-back steps up, the centre-mid drops in. So United were always playing with a back five. I've seen in Amorim's first couple of games, I can't remember what game, United switched to a back four in the Europa League game. Why do people don't notice this and say, I think it's that people do not want this back three, back five, whatever it is. This idea that you can't play good football with a back three is foolish. I think it's foolish. You need the personnel for it 100%. Because I watch Bayer Leverkusen, I watch Inter, I watch teams that play with a back three or a back five with sufficient wing backs playing good football. I also watch, and I think maybe it's the Pep Guardiola-ism of football, because everybody thinks that you have to play football the way that Pep does. Pep was playing with a back three last season, but because it's not a back three on paper, everyone's looking at him thinking it's a back four, because it's a back four on paper. It is a back four, but he's playing with a back three. And he was inverting a fullback to have two in the middle next to Rodri. Goodness me, how many litres does your bottle hold? I think it's 1 litre. It's quite big. I think it's 1 litre of water. It helps me get through my daily water, man. Did anyone watch Newcastle versus Arsenal? Newcastle used a 5-4-1 a lot of the times versus Arsenal. That's the thing. I think people see what United put on a piece of paper in terms of the starting lineup, the starting formation, and they take that at face value and think, yeah, that's what United are playing. But in game, you will see the tweaks. And you know what? This is why I love to take screenshots when I'm watching a game. And I always try to include it in my match reactions. I always try to include it when I'm talking about it, because that's the only way that we can notice. We're so far behind in comparison. We're far behind in comparison because of Ineos. We are far behind because of Jim Ratcliffe, the British billionaire, and Manchester United's leadership. That is why Manchester United are so far. If you genuinely think United are far behind, and it's rightfully so to think that, it's because of Ineos. Because Ineos chose to keep Erik ten Hag in the summer. And that is the beginning of all the problems that United are experiencing this season. Now, I'm not to say that if Amorim came in the summer, it would be a completely different season. But he would have had an entire pre-season. He would have had involvement in the window. Manchester United players wouldn't have had to adapt to a change in system mid-season. Manchester United wouldn't have to keep briefing the media that they're poor and they have no money, because they wouldn't have had to pay for Erik ten Hag's departure. They wouldn't have to have paid for Dan Ashworth's dismissal. They wouldn't have had to pay for any of that stuff. They wouldn't have had to. So if we are going to say that United are behind opponents in comparison to maybe other teams, we have to address the elephant in the room, which is the ownership at Manchester United, or if you want to call it because they only got like 29% or 28%, whatever it is, minority owners, if you want to call it that. We have to address that. And yes, I think you can make mistakes in business, because there's no business that's perfect. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not trial and error, but you're going to learn as things progress. For me, it's the fact that Manchester United, it was reported that in the September or end of September international break, they had already decided to sack Erik ten Hag, but they gave him another 3 weeks. Even though they had already decided to let him go. And for me, those are the kind of decisions that can really impact you. I said it when Erik ten Hag left, and that feels like it was a lifetime ago, guys. It was only 3 months ago. When Erik ten Hag left Manchester United, I said that we should lower our expectations for the season. Not because the season is a write-off, but because I said it was going to get bad. And it's gotten bad. It's gotten so gory. I think it's even going to get worse. Like, maybe that's the pessimism in me. And I haven't been an optimistic fan for a couple of years now. So maybe that's just my pessimistic side. But Manchester United have a long way to go to being even remotely entertaining on the pitch. because Man United are not entertaining to watch. If you can tell me right now, that you are entertained watching Manchester United, I'm going to call you a liar. And that is what happens when it's like teething pains, but it's very painful teething pains. It is very painful teething pains. And that is what Manchester United are experiencing right now. A change in system mid-season, a change in manager mid-season. You got important players going out injured. You got Lisandro Martinez, I think, who is more important to Amorim's system than in Ten Hag's system. I actually think that. So you have those kind of influences. Then you've got young academy players coming through, or young players just in general, United buying them, bringing them into the first team. But you got a front line that can't score 30 goals between the entire team in 20 games. And United still conceding stupid goals. So for me, there is so many teething pains in the team that it always has to get worse before it gets better. That is probably my biggest takeaway. Manchester United are set to make another 100 to 200 further redundancies. Aim is to increase the funds for first team. You see this, guys, I don't agree with redundancies, but when you're in the corporate world, you know what it's like. You know what the job market is like. You know what you know what the financial, the economy is like. You know, if you live in the UK, you know what the economy is like in the UK right now. You know how bad inflation is. The job market just across all sectors is poor. It's really bad. But this is what I don't F with. This is what I don't F with, is that to increase funds for the first team, it's not to get rid of the people that own 200k a week. It's not getting rid of the people that sitting around for the last 4, 5, 6 years, earning a living, doing nothing, millionaires. It's not getting rid of them. It's getting rid of the working class average Joe that lives in Manchester that needs a job, that earns probably what Ratcliffe probably earns in a minute is probably what these guys earn in a year. But those are the people that are impacted by the decisions. I don't agree with the redundancies. And you're saying the game is the game. And I understand that. But when Man United are looking to raise funds for the first team, you're telling me, let's do the maths here, guys. You know me, I love maths. Unless this is like senior people, you're sacking like directors, there's no way you're raising funds for the first team. Say the average salary of, say, 200 redundancies, and it averages from people that are, mid-tier to senior execs at the club. Say the average, if you take the average salary, it's about 70k. 200 times 70k, about that. It's about 14 million pounds. Yeah. So that's what you're saving in salary. And that's just a rough estimation. But if you are not in the UK, guys, redundancies come with something called packages, redundancy package. You have to pay someone to leave. You have to pay someone to leave. When you're paying someone to leave, you have to give them a package. So normally it will be like 6 months of your salary to leave. Or you get, and the more senior you are, I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying 70k, guys, is because I'm taking into consideration the possibility of 200 employees, including senior members of staff who are on 300, 400k. You have to take into consideration that, because there are CFOs in big conglomerates or big institutions easily earn £500,000. Easily. So it is definitely possible. But even if it's less than that, say it's 10 million across, say it's 10 million total, you have to take into consideration what it costs you to get rid of those people as well. So you might save 10 million a year, but equally it's going to cost you a lot of money to get rid of that. It's going to cost you a lot of money to get rid of those players. Not those players, sorry, those employees. But and yes, a business is a business, but maybe I'm feeling rattled because I'm working class, just like these people. These people are just trying to put food on their plates. But it's not the billionaires that are getting impacted by this. It's not the millionaires at the football club. I'm talking about the players who earn so much money. It's not those players. It's the average Joes. Just like the way that the ticket increases doesn't impact the players. It doesn't impact the billionaires. It impacts the average Joes that support the club and go and watch the club. That is a joke. That is actually a joke. And there is no way that, I don't think anyone should buy the idea that financially Manchester United will be better off when these cuts are made. But that's my rant of the day done. I feel like I've done way too many rants today. You lot are just triggering me in the chat. Chris Wheeler, by the way, reporting. Some Manchester United players have discussed amongst themselves whether a change of plan that is better suited to their style of play might be the best way forward. There is a growing concern among some players that the teething problems they have experienced under Ruben Amorim are not going to improve unless he considers at least tweaking the system. This is coming from Chris Wheeler. If players don't feel like the style is not suited to their way of playing, you know where the door is. And I mean that in a nice way. I don't mean that in a harsh way. Because players if that is true, are players feeling like the system should be built around their strengths? In what world, guys? In what world do you build a system around your employees? And I'm being serious. I've worked a lot of jobs in my lifetime, guys. I've worked a lot of jobs in my lifetime. You don't go and basically decide how shit's going to go down. You go in and you play your position. You've come in for a certain role, you play that position. There is growing concern among some players that the teething problems they have experienced under Amorim are not going to improve unless he considers at least tweaking the system. By the way, guys, I thought the leaks were over now that Marcus Rashford was gone. I thought the leaks were going to be over once Marcus Rashford was out of the squad. And not only out of the squad, the guy's not even in the city anymore. Who are these players? It's probably the players that are struggling in the system and they look flawed in the system. It's probably those players that are probably complaining about it. Of course, you know, these kind of reports is that we take it with a pinch of salt. We take it with a pinch of salt, but it doesn't change the fact that if there's any truth to it, players need to know that there's nowhere for them to hide anymore. Like, genuinely speaking, players need to know that there's nowhere to hide. And I think that's what the Amorim system is probably showing us at best, is that there are problems with some of these players in terms of the way that they play. There are issues. Agents yapping, yeah, probably it might be the agents. Sometimes the agents, not even just agents, like it's like me being a footballer and then I come home and I tell my sister something. And then my sister tells someone in the media. Like that's what can happen. That is what can happen in the world of football. And I never believe that reporters have direct access to players. I think they have access to people around them. So the agents and the friends and people close to them and, you know, family members. I think that's who they have access to. But listen, guys, we're 15 likes away from 100. So if you've been here the entire hour and 20 minutes and you haven't hit the like button, don't be a disgrace. Make sure you hit the like button. You know the rules, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, and then you hit the like button. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. Big up to everyone. We're here on 12k, so next up is 13k. The goal is to hit 20k by the end of the year. Today, what's happening? Champions League football. We got Sporting versus Dortmund. I can't remember. PSG versus another team, and Real Madrid versus Man City, which obviously is the big one that everyone's going to be watching. Make sure you lot check out the post-match reaction to that game because I'm hoping it's going to be an absolute thriller. The last time Man City and Real Madrid met in the Champions League, it was entertaining. So big up to everyone. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. What's happening tomorrow? We will have daily dose of Mina, of course, and then we'll see where the week takes us. But we've got content coming every single day on the channel, match reactions across all European leagues and, of course, Premier League as well. Watch along on the weekend for the women's team as well. I'll do a birthday stream for my birthday on Monday as well. So we've got a lot of content coming. So make sure you lot turn your post notifications on. So when I go live or I post a video, you will get notified. Big up to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for sticking around throughout the stream, and I'll be back tomorrow, inshallah, God willing. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm out, guys. Peace.